Good evening, everyone. My name is Shanae Jackson. I am the person that tunes in with Rep. Angie Nixon on Sunday nights when she does her Ask Angie virtual event. Rep. Nixon is running behind, as you all know, that she is traveling all across the state of Florida. It has been her goal to visit all 67 counties, and she is almost there. I think at the last count, she visited 54 out of the 67 counties. So she only has about 13 more to go. And she's actually made multiple visits and multiple stops throughout the actual state of Florida, which is absolutely phenomenal. As we are giving her an opportunity to get in and get settled, we did want to go ahead and get started. Our Ask Angie virtual events are pretty short. They're between 30 and 45 minutes. Just the fact that she takes the time to do this and to be so deliberate, um, in spite of or in addition to all of the travel that she's actually doing is phenomenal. So I did want to take the moment to give people the opportunity, questions that you have, to go ahead and start dropping those in the chat so we can actually get those actually ready for her. I might have two questions that people actually sent in when they signed up and they registered to participate tonight. So we want to make sure that we go ahead and get started and get those questions so that we can get as far as many of them answered as possible. Our last few segments have had so much momentum and so much energy that we haven't had a chance to get through all of the questions. And so that is the reason we want to keep things going until she actually is able to hop in and join us. Also, just as a person who is an advocate across the internet and the internet streets, I see that a lot of people are asking a lots of questions about how to engage in the voting process for the August primary. So I just want to give some information for those of you all who have it. That is wonderful, but please be very deliberate about actually sharing this information with people in your circles. One thing that is coming up is there's great confusion about when the election itself is. The actual primary election is Tuesday, August the 18th. And so depending on where you are, typically polls open at 7 a.m. There is a great resource called Vote 411 that you can actually go, which is a non-biased um, link or website that you can utilize to find out about early voting, to find out if you can actually access your vote by mails, to find out what those locations are, and then also to find out more information, not only about Angie, but also other candidates that might happen to be in the race. And so wanted to share that information because many people are stating that they know that they're voting for Angie, but they'll be more prone to go vote if they know about other resources and other people. Also, my final announcement, because Angie has joined us, is that she has, for the people that she supported, been very deliberate about us knowing who those people are. So I do ask people to actually go down her social media pages. However you follow her, she's been very deliberate about that, which is very helpful for you all that are trying to find out about other people that you actually should vote for as well. And then also, there's been questions about finding out where she is. I understand that in some counties, you all are not getting like notifications from people that are having her there. So any event that Angie herself does that's a part of her tour or things that she sets up, they're on her Mobilize. I will also drop that link in the chat as well. I will also let people know that at this moment, if there's not an event that might be coming up, one of two things. Number one, it is coming. And if you're already registered with Mobilize, when those new events are added, you will automatically get an email that'll let you know what's coming up in your area. But then also, two, you do have the opportunity to reach out. I will drop my information in the chat as well and let us know, like, hey, I don't see anything that's coming up. We would love her here. We are only about 16 days into the primary. And so if she is in that part of state, I'll be happy to let you all know. But if not, because she will be taking this home in the general, we'll make sure that we come by and see you all before November the 3rd. And so with that, I would love to turn it over to Angie Nixon, and I'll start looking at those questions so that we can get started.
Hey everyone, it is Angie. I'm so happy to be with you all today. Sorry that I'm late. We had a lot going on. I came from an event. Oh, I'm home in Jacksonville, Florida, just for 24 hours, and then I'm back on the road. I'll be in Miami tomorrow. But yeah, a lot has been happening, so I'm really interested in hearing the questions. We have not been on since. I don't think we've been on since the poll came out that stated that I am the strongest Democratic candidate in the race to take on Ashley Moody. I'm polling better than my primary opponent. And so that shows that people power will beat money power each and every day of the week. I just want to say that for sure. And I don't know, Shanae, are we streaming everywhere?
We are streaming on Facebook and we're streaming on YouTube from both of your pages.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. But yeah, no, so that is what's happening. I don't know. Do we have any questions?
Not at the moment. What we have is everyone cheering you on. So just telling you, go Angie. We love you. God is covering you. Let's go vote for Angie.
Did
And
y'all
then
see
people
my
cheering
shoes
you on.
today? Did y'all see my shoes? I hope those were professional and senatorial. I went to Goodwill today and bought some more stuff.
I will be honest and state that I was very surprised because everywhere that we've gone, not even myself, people love your style. They comment on it all the time. We want to be very honest. It was triggering for me because the only time I've ever seen anyone talk about someone's style or their dress is when they are being throwing microaggressions and trying to state that we're not professional enough. And just speaking personally as a Black woman, we always bring in different culture and style. Um, I apologize, you all. I am babysitting at the moment, and he's having fun joining us. So I just want to state that. And then the way that you showed your outfit, and I just, to me personally, it felt like you were showing us how you balance an actual budget by being able to be so stylish and to get those things from Goodwill and not be wasteful. So it made me super excited. Other
You
people
know,
say, Angie,
I want to be real too with folks as well. We actually did that fit check video like weeks ago. We just didn't release it, but I don't know. Everything happens for a reason, and I guess the universe or God knew when we were gonna need to release that video, and lo and behold, we released it right on time. Also, I think it's important to let folks know people should shop at Goodwill. Even if you have money, even if you are a millionaire, which I am not, I'm the only candidate in the race that's not a millionaire, right? But it helps lower your carbon footprint. No, so seriously, like we have to start thinking about the environment and this fast fashion that is taking over the world, especially here in the States. We gotta take that down a notch and go to Goodwill, help save the planet.
absolutely. So you have a few questions that have come in. So the first question is Florida is one of the fastest growing states in the union. How would you balance growth with the need to invest in roads, utilities, and other infrastructure?
Yeah, for sure. So we definitely need to do more smart growth in regards to development, even sometimes looking at I, I don't I want to make sure that it's important for the state, especially to not preempt the type of growth that needs to happen on a local level. So we need to allow local governments to make sure that they can make the decisions in regards to how they want to grow and everything like that. Too often we see the state trying to impart what they want to do. So that's number one. I think in certain areas we need to look at density, right? Like modifying the amount of density. But again, that's a local issue. I don't want to you know, go into that on a federal level, right? But we definitely need to make sure that there is more public housing, more investment within public housing units. Also, we need to fully reform the current public housing system with the Housing of Urban Development uh, Agency, and we got to find some of these landlords and get some of these landlords that are overseeing these units. I actually used to organize in one. It was Hilltop in Florida, in Jacksonville, Florida. It's some other name, but everybody still calls it Hilltop. And so it's really important to know, like they put on a dog and pony show when the Secretary of HUD comes out, there were like rats and roaches, and we had to really like work to stay on the landlord's necks about that. And so that needs to be revamped, right? But when it comes to like roads and infrastructure and that type of stuff, we can't just keep giving these we can't keep subsidizing this stuff for these corporations that come in to build these units. They need to pay what they owe. Like they need to pay what they owe. They have the money. They gonna make money off the rent and all the things. Like they just need to do right by folks, and we need to stop giving them all these tax breaks. They got money, and then they want to jack up the rent. I was talking to a lady named Joanne from Fernandina Beach a few weeks ago, and over a month ago. And Joanne is like living in a senior apartment complex, and the folks are the owners are about to go to market rate because they're about to stop paying. They're going to be done paying off the federal loan that they got to build the housing unit, and now they're going to go up the market rate because they want to make more money. Like absolutely not. That's why we need our own public housing units where um they are owned by, the state maybe, and then we can have potentially outsource it for property management possibly, but there's different ways we can do stuff. But this is what happens, right? Like again, they're going to market rate, and there's going to be a ton of seniors that are out of housing because it's all about profit for them, and that's jacked up. Now they done got all those kickbacks and all those tax breaks, and they're about to put those seniors out on the street. That's jacked up, and it shouldn't be happening.
You're absolutely. Thank you so much for answering that. The next question is flooding is a growing concern for Florida residents. What would you do while in office to mitigate flood damage for constituents?
We need to we need to really fund and invest in infrastructure. I know what I won't do. I won't spend $500 million of your taxpayer dollars that was dedicated towards making sure the infrastructure was good during time of natural disasters and spend it on disappearing our neighbors, our immigrant neighbors and friends and family, and locking them up in cages. That's where y'all infrastructure money went, on an expensive political stunt that Ron DeSantis did so that he can award Donald Trump's and his campaign donors $214 on porta potties. That's how much they spent down in the alligator Alcatraz. That's a whole lot of shit. Like seriously. 214 million. They spent a ton on that raggedy 10. Like it's disrespectful. And so we definitely need to work to invest in better infrastructure across the state. But you have to do that by repealing the big BS bill, which was not beautiful. It was BS, and making these billionaires pay what they owe, closing these corporate tax loopholes, making sure these developers, right, like they're paying what they need to when they come in as it relates to the impact fees. I mean, that's a state level, like that's state, but they need to pay impact fees if they are about to build up. Like we can't just keep offering them. They gonna develop anyway. Like, let me be clear, like they are, right? And if they don't, we can do it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So another person says, "Hey Angie, I'm Chase. Quick question. A lot of people in Florida feel very disillusioned with elections in Florida and see it as a forever a red state. What are your plans to energize the Democratic voter?"
First of all, Florida is not, hey Chase, Florida's not a red state. Florida has been a rigged state, but there's no amount of rigging that can be done when we turn out to vote, especially for statewide elections. This is our state, this is our country. We have the opportunity to build our country the way in which we want to build it this next 250 years. The fact is that the legislative makeup of the majority of these legislative bodies all across the country, particularly in Washington, D.C., they do not reflect the makeup of our electorate. Our electorate is very colorful, and it is filled with men, women, trans members of the community, non-binary. That is not reflective of this legislative body. We cannot allow them to take our power away. Like, I don't feel comfortable letting people decide how my life gonna go. And so I'm motivating people by letting them know it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be a legislative body in Washington, D.C. that is made up of majority rich people, wealthy like billionaires and millionaires. Ashley Moody is was unappointed, not elected. Like, she is a millionaire. And she's a millionaire because she trades stocks. Like, she's a millionaire. And then they want to tell you all that, oh, y'all got it. Y'all chose y'all job. That's your fault. Oh, you chose a bad major. That's your fault. Y'all are working harder than ever. Harder than ever. More hours than you used to. And you still struggling. But these people over here exploiting us and scheming. They're scammers, and they spending our money, including our taxpayer money. Absolutely not. If anything, y'all should want to take our power back. I don't like bullies, and they bullies. So let's change the trajectory of our country. Let's build the vision that we want to build, and let's do this thing, y'all. Like, we can have nice things. Working families can have nice things. Everyday people can have nice things. We just got to get these people at the top out the way, get them on out the way, vote them out of office, and start electing people that look like your neighbors or look like you. You are going to pass the type of legislation when you have everyday hardworking people like in office, working families who are a part of working families. If they were your lawmakers, they would pass legislation that would benefit you, not billionaires. Right now, the only legislation that is being passed benefits billionaires and not us. And so I'm over that. It's time out for that.
Thank you so much. Also just entering into that, which goes to the next question. One of the things that we learned as you have been out talking to people in the community was about the ALICE acronym, which is basically what is utilized to calculate the Florida poverty line. And then we learned that what they are utilizing for families to be determined if they're in poverty are the same numbers from 1964 by an economist who developed that. And then one thing we looked up all together was that with a family of four, they say that they're on the poverty line if they make less than $31,200. But if they actually do the calculations to actually accommodate now for the way that costs have risen, and this does not still include things like childcare and medical bills, it's stated that a family of four should make at least $98,000 a year. And so you talk a lot about people over profit. Are there any plans that you have to see how we can actually increase the income for families that make less than that $98,000 a year?
Yeah, for sure. So number one, in regards to ensuring that folks have access to certain benefits, we have to change the calculation, the way in which they calculate stuff for people to even have access to benefits. That's number one. Number two, I am fully supportive of increasing the minimum wage, right? Like, we have to do that. We have to do that. I was one of the statewide organizers that helped lead to the increase of the state minimum wage here in the state of Florida. So, like, I I did stuff before I was in office. I'm doing stuff while I'm in office, and I'm gonna do stuff even when I'm not in office. I am nothing short of consistent here in my love for the people of the state of Florida. So I want to put that out there. Also, I believe in universal health care. We need Medicare for all, a Medicare for all that pays good reimbursement rates to healthcare providers so that they do not go out of business or they don't sell their companies to private equity firms or whatever. Like, we need Medicare for all to pay good reimbursement rates to take care of people, right? We also need universal child care. We need universal child care. So number one, parents can get back to work. There's so many parents that are staying at home because they cannot afford to send their children to early childhood education facilities. And so they stay home, and a lot of these children are starting behind when they go to school. And so, if we want to create a, uh, if we want to create a society where the people in that society are smart, have good socialization skills, are compassionate, understand empathy, they need to be socialized at a young age. And that starts with universal child care. Like it just makes sense. And people are like, oh, why I gotta pay for that? Stop having kids. First of all, these same kids are going to eventually you are going to need healthcare providers, you are going to need teachers, you are going to need engineers, you're gonna need, you know, everything under the sun. Why not make sure that they have a strong foundation? And so that's cutting those costs from healthcare, from childcare, right? Allowing rent stabilization for at least a year where people can't increase the rents by 10%, no more than 10%. Also, when I get in, I want to put forth legislation to freeze and to lower the interest rates for credit cards for a year or two while everybody like gets caught up. It won't put the credit card companies out of business. It needs to be at 5%. I know Bernie Sanders had filed legislation around a 6% cap on the credit cards for like a year, and I'm proposing 5%. Like people can pay off their credit cards faster, and then they can keep money in their pockets longer, and so it'll allow people to get caught up. These interest rates are ridiculous right now, and so those are a few things that I would do.
And thank you so much, especially for sharing your piece about universal childcare. So I'm a person that is a mom with only adult children, and I don't have grandchildren. And so one of the things that I looked up, well, for me personally, I see the value in it, period. But for people who typically will state, well, hey, that doesn't benefit or impact me. And what I learned is in New Mexico, they actually did the math, and it is the reason that they passed universal child care. And what they realized is through research is that by having universal child care, they were able to actually infuse $586 million back into their state budget. And the reason for that was all of the lost like people being actually in the workforce, lost revenue as it related to taxes and things that were being paid. So just also naming for people who say, well, hey, universal child care doesn't actually impact me. It actually benefits our states and our states' economies, and actually helps for our states to be a great deal more productive. So I wanted to name that. So you have quite a few people that are really excited and just telling you they're proud of you for standing on business and for being who you are. So the next question is asked by multiple people. So I'm going to try to synthesize it because they have different aspects of it. So they want you to talk about like AI and flock and mass surveillance systems. One person wants to talk about how they're privately owned and linked to Israel. And then another person just wants you to kind of name what direct actions or things that people can do as it relates to data centers and flock. So I want to name for the people that are tuning in. There is this aspect that people have concerns related to flock and AI because of mass surveillance. And then there's the other part where there's an impact as it relates to the impacts that data centers have on our communities. So I wanted to be able to help clarify for the people before you answer the question.
For sure. So um I am an 80s baby. I am an older millennial. And I grew up watching Terminator, Enemy of the State, Report. So listen, I am so anti flock cameras. I believe that I know that they are a lot of them. The data is private companies. We need to get rid of them. Like there's no need. It's a violation of our privacy. I am not supportive of them. I uh, I'm trying to remember the questions. Data centers, we need regulations on them. Um, we need more research on them before we allow them to continue to be built right now. They are causing utility rates to go up. I watched a news story somewhere where a woman had to repipe her whole home due to the build out of data centers, the building of data centers, the construction of it. And then like they now have to truck in water so that they can have drinking water and to take baths because there's sediments that keep getting in their pipes. And so these data centers are only benefiting these corporations. They're not really helping us. And so I'm not for them at this time. More research needs to be done, more stronger regulations. Also in terms of AI, if a company is using AI, the employees need to know. People who are applying for jobs need to know that they are um, screening their applications with AI. Employees need to know if they are being trained by AI, if they're being scheduled by AI. I don't believe autonomous vehicles need to be in like the trucking industry. If they have autonomous vehicles, there needs to be a living, breathing person inside of that autonomous vehicle as well. And so those are a few things that related to AI data centers and flock cameras.
Thank you so much. We actually are getting to wrap up. I have four more questions for you, and then we'll be actually ending for tonight. Time sure flies actually when you're having fun. Before I ask those questions, I do want to name that one person states the news needs to stop talking about how working families and seniors are going to be priced out of their homes.
They already priced out.
Yes, they want to make sure that that is made to be clear that that's happening now. We have another person who says that the racial wealth gap is growing even as Black families are buying more homes and starting more businesses than ever. And someone wants to know, would you support a lineage based reparations program?
Of course. I we I wanna we need to I wanna figure out how we do it, but I do support reparations.
Thank you. And then another person states access to benefits is not benefits. Access to health care is not health care. I have access to buy a Ferrari, but I can't afford it. Believing in and doing are two different things. We're not asking you to believe in Medicare for all. We are asking, what will you do if elected to give us health care?
Work to pass Medicare for all. File legislation to pass Medicare for all. Be vocal about doing it, right? Like I support Medicare for all. I'm the only candidate in the race that supports it, that feels that there's a need for it, that knows that we need to do more than just like reform the ACA.
Absolutely. Now, thank you so much for naming that. I want to name for people that are tuning in. I often see the banter of people that states when it pertains to Medicare for all, their question is how are we going to pay for it? And I want to challenge people to think differently and understand that we've already paid for it. Israel has excellent health care, and that is because of support from America. So if we can provide health care in other countries, we can absolutely provide quality health care in our country. So the next question is, please let us know what you will be help to do to help the environment.
So I want to make sure that we are repealing a lot of those cuts to the EPA. I also want to end any subsidies to big oil. Those subsidies need to be diverted to renewable energy, right? We need to put a strong emphasis on solar and wind. We are in the sunshine state. We need to do that. I support the Green New Deal. I also believe we need to put more teeth behind enforcement of laws and policies as it relates to the environment. A lot of these companies bake into their business model fines and fees for violating environmental policies. These executives need to go to jail. If they continue to violate policies, people need to go to jail. They trying to put me in jail for speaking out against unconstitutional and illegal things. If they want to send me to jail for protecting civil rights and voting rights, then we can definitely send executives of industries, of companies and corporations that contaminate our water, contaminate our air, contaminate our land, cause people to get cancer with some of their products when they knowingly allow it to happen, they need to go to jail. That is what I will work to make happen when I become your next United States Senator.
Thank you so much. And then this is the final, like, main question before we wrap up. They would like to know, what will you do to support small businesses in Florida?
Oh my gosh, when it comes to small businesses, we need to stop bailing out big corporations and start bailing out small business owners, right? Like we need to definitely offer not offer more low cost, I'm sorry, low cost, no cost, no interest loans as well as some grant funding to small businesses. There's not a lot of grant funding for small businesses. Also, additional support. A lot of times people start businesses because of desperation. And so they don't necessarily set up everything the way in which it should be set up. And so we need more access to that and actually help folks draw business plans. And I know like there's a small business development center, the SBA and all of that. Like but sometimes they're far and they're not in certain areas, and so we need to make sure that there's more accessibility as as it relates to that. Also, I am totally supportive of minority set asides. We need to roll back a lot of these anti-DEI policies. There needs to be some minority set aside so that they can get plugged into some of these contracts, right? And we need to look at how we are actually um, contracting things out. You know, sometimes these bigger companies partner with a minority owned company, and that's how they're able to like get some of these contracts. And so we got to like reassess how all of that is done. So those are a few things.
Thank you. And I apologize. I said that was my last question, but just one more because this question is so important. So the last question I'm taking, but they're both from Tammy, and then no more questions, you all, just because she has been running all day. So
And
Tammy
I
is,
have another call at 9:30.
yes. So Tammy has two, but they're very important questions. So it's the only reason I'm asking those. One you already named, and she wants to know, how will you support the LGBTQ community? And then the other question is, how will you protect people from ICE?
I'm sorry. I'm tired. So yeah, so I am not an ally. I'm an accomplice. I'm a willful accomplice. I'm going to continue to do what I always do when it comes to members of the LGBTQ community. I filed legislation on the state level that Ron DeSantis and these Republicans did not want to see moved. It was the Freedom to Learn Act, which would have allowed the teaching of true history, accurate history, even if it involved members of the LGBTQ. Would love to federalize this law. It also allowed for the usage of pronouns in schools. My son is gay and I love him with all my heart. And young um, gay students are 4 times more likely to commit suicide or attempt suicide than other folks, other kids their age. And so they need protection, right? Like, let them use their pronouns. Like, it also would not allow for teachers to be able to out their students to parents. There have been some parents that have been abusive to their children because they're members of the LGBTQ community, right? Um, also, we need more protection for housing when it comes to members of the LGBTQ community. They can be discriminated against. And so putting some teeth in legislation to allow that to not happen and allow people to go ahead and sue them if they're discriminating against members of the LGBTQ community. So that is that. In regards to ICE, I want to abolish them. We need to put money, redirect that money from DHS to actually modernizing the immigration system. Um, I believe we need to expand TPS, but then offer up a clear, compassionate pathway to citizenship for TPS recipients because their home countries are not stable. Um, yeah, if folks want to handle trafficking, it should be FBI handling sexual, human, child trafficking. DEA can handle drugs. Border Patrol can secure the border. ICE is a very recent agency. They were developed after 9/11 to target Muslims. Um, so they are a history. They are a paramilitary force that is not designed to invoke fear within communities and terrorize communities, and that's exactly what they're doing. They no
Thank you.
longer need to be
I
here.
appreciate it. So I do want to name for people that are tuned in. I came across a flyer today that Angie will be participating in a press conference in Miami tomorrow at 11 a.m. So just being a person who surfs the internet, I happened to stumble upon that. I wanted to make sure that you all are aware. We do have a person, and I'm not having you to answer this question today, but to name, they would like to know what Angie would do to address policies that have attacked funds allocated to college education, including Pell Grants. Can the ask be that you actually create a video for that so that it is something that we can share around colleges at a different time, not tonight?
Yes, I have to
Okay.
go, y'all. I appreciate y'all
So
having
we
another call.
Yeah, so just making sure of that. And then Angie, if you'll just end by letting us know when you the first thing you'll do once you're sworn in, and then we'll have you to hop off and I'll be happy to let other people know how to stay involved.
The first thing I do is file legislation to extend the ACA subsidies because 300, nearly 300,000 people dropped off the rolls here in Florida because Ashley Moody voted against it. And that also jacked up our premiums. And so we want to extend the subsidies so that we can demand that these health insurance companies open up, reopen up open enrollment to drive down these costs. And then join the legislation and the push to advocate for Medicare for all. But right now, immediate relief can come if those subsidies are expanded. And then, of course, y'all know we're going to work to wind down this war so our gas prices can go down, so that our military men and women can be saved, and so that we can stop these defense contractors from getting richer and funding politicians that are trying to keep us poor and
Thank you
oppressed.
so much, Angie. I
Bye,
just want to
y'all.
let you know, and you'll see it next time. But Laura, we thank you for saying you're rocking with Angie Nixon in Florida.
See
Your
you later,
energy is
y'all.
incredible, and see how hard you work every day. They want to name what long hours she's having and how much traveling she's doing. Yet she never seems to be tired or unprepared or flustered. I mean, state that she knows her facts and articulate them powerfully and beautifully without notes. You know that she's going to work just as hard for us, the people, when we elect her. So I'm actually going to end our call tonight by just reminding you all that this is a people powered campaign and a people powered movement. And so that means she needs your time. So by signing up to volunteer, she needs your talent, whatever that is. We have people that help to MC. We have people that help to do event planning. There are people that knock on doors and organize other people, and also your treasure. And so, fundraising has been very successful this quarter. Wanting to name that the average donation for this campaign is $27. And then 40% of the donations are $200 or less. So whether it's a dollar, whether it's $5, whether it's $50, that is to keep this movement actually going. I will state that one thing that I learned is that someone that was trying to name um how little this campaign has actually raised, and stating, oh, it takes $38 million, it takes $60 million. With the amount of money that she has raised, she has over 1,000 neighborhood captains and over 4,000 volunteers. So showing that people power will always outdo the financial power and money anytime. And so by us being very deliberate and very consistent, the purpose of raising money in campaigns is to get the word out and for voters to know that she's here and she's running. And so one of the ways that you can offer the greatest support is when you tune into events like this. Everyone that is in your phone, Text them, call them, let them know that she's running, let them know that the election is August 18th. Early voting starts next week between August 4th and August 7th, depending on what county you actually live in. There's a huge opportunity for you to bring great value just by talking to the people that you interact with on a day-to-day basis. And those are the asks for us. We're here, and she tries to do this each Sunday as much as possible. I myself just want to say how amazing it is to watch her behind the scenes. We watched her last week fly from New York. She was in the Panhandle and did 9 stops in the Panhandle over 2 days. And she left the tip of the state and drove all the way to the Keys. She's been to Broward and other places in between. She's back home in Jacksonville today, and she'll be back in Miami in the morning. There's additional stops throughout the state. It was her goal to go to all 67 counties, and that wasn't arbitrary. It was her responsibility that she stated that if she's going to represent all of the people in Florida, she needed to go meet and engage with all the people in Florida. And so not only has she said that she is people over party and people over politics, she has shown that. So it doesn't matter if a county is red or purple or blue or whatever color it is that you want to give it. It doesn't matter the color of the constituencies in the age group. She's engaged everyone, even going into spaces and answering hard questions with people that may or may not support her. Because for her, it is whether you support me or not in this moment, I will be elected to serve all. And so I want to leave you all with that. Thank you all for tuning in so much. I will stay on for just a moment if there are any remaining questions. I will also drop my contact information in the chat. You are welcome to reach out to this campaign. It is people powered in actions and not just in words. Thank you all and have a wonderful evening. Oh, and then I do have one question about her being in Broward County. She will be at Fort Lauderdale on Tuesday, August the 4th at 6 p.m. for a candidate forum. There also will be a rally at 5 right before that. So we recommend that you do also pin to the top of the chat. You will see how to engage, how to sign up, how to donate, and also how actually to sign up on Mobilize so that any events that pop up in your area, you'll actually get a Mobilize notification as well. And then we also have a comment. Anyone from Tampa Bay, be sure to vote for Brent Robinson for Congress and CD13. He has endorsed Angie, universal health care, universal child care, etc. And then someone else said, I agree. People power is how we win. Tell 10 friends and make their promise to tell 10 friends. It has been amazing in order to engage you all tonight. You all have a wonderful evening.